All right, boys. Wimbledon review. Final. Who watched it?
I did.
Moi, I did.
There you go. Well, let's start with this. Let's start with Kevin watching about 30 hours of tennis.
What?
Exactly.
Love that.
I did.
This past weekend in Austin.
I missed the final, but I caught more.
Break
Yeah.
like a hip? Couldn't get out of the couch?
No, just
Really inspired.
just back in the room. I caught.
We were in Austin
Months
and,
of-
and
yeah.
it was playing during the day. We would just get waking up in the morning watching it.
I caught more tennis
Yeah.
over those.
That's what I did with Richie Lee.
few days.
That's right.
Wake up and
Yeah.
sat on the couch all morning until
Yeah.
we went out.
Yeah, that's
watch
kind of what I
tennis.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a good week to do it.
Yeah.
If you're a tennis fan, that's
Yeah.
it rains and all stuff. That's
I enjoyed watching it more than, I guess, just because I actually watched it. I just thought, like, I'd never really watched it over the last bunch of years, but everyone was so good. There's so many good, like, the shot making is really, I really haven't paid attention. Like, everyone I was watching, I was super impressed with.
oh yeah, and Eubanks, man.
Ooh,
He
like
was.
that. I
like
he-
him.
That's
he
such a
was.
skinny little dude. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
not little.
Well, tall, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, very.
It was, yeah.
like
So
when
inconsistent
above
towards
your
the end,
knee
though.
is the same size as below your knee, and your legs, it's all one thing. You don't see that much. Like he's got those legs are just little stick legs.
Yeah, but he was
But he was
moving,
cracking,
he
yeah, he was
cracking the
cracking.
ball and moving and what a
He
nice.
was hammering
that's
some ground strokes.
Oh yeah,
too,
Yeah.
dude.
a one-y.
That ball.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one-y. Man, so good. He was
he was
he's-
digging it too. It's
he was
nice to
playing
see,
free.
like,
Yeah,
I don't know. You can be in that position and seize up. And, like, it didn't seem like he was seizing up. He was, like, even getting lucky sometimes. Since I'm, like, seeing him, like, looking around and laughing a little bit,
Yeah.
being like, I'm at Wimbledon right now.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, you know?
And he
It's
was-
hard to manage that.
yeah. He wanted to be. He was saying, I saw a quote that he was like, I hope I make it the second week of Wimbledon. That'll be a dream come true. And dude, he made
Yeah.
it. That's amazing. Not only that,
What was his payday? What were we were talking about that? I mean, that's a huge. That guy just made his.
I think it's like 250 or something.
It's somewhere
right?
there,
First
right?
round's
Yeah,
like
there was-
60, then it goes up to like 100.
I thought the
Boy, does
semis
that
was
take a little pressure off too? When you're
400,000 in the semis or more.
Look at that.
I think it's a little bit more.
a little bit more. So
Yeah,
he
semis.
he must have made like over 300.
Yeah.
Than if he got to the quarters. Yeah, you can, Ellis, if you can look it up, the earnings there. 430,000.
It's like that.
That's a great.
That's years for some players.
That's what we're talking about. We're looking with Kev.
2-3 years for some of these players.
Yeah.
Right.
He made only, Ellis is saying, 622,000 career. And he
Two-thirds of
just made 2/3 of it in the Wimbledon. And he also,
Did he play doubles?
I'm not sure if he played doubles. No, I don't think so. But he, maybe. But he also won the tournament before.
He did.
So he won a tournament. That's awesome. So now he wins at 250, and then gets to the quarters. So that's going to give him points and money for a good while. Plus he's playing well, man, confidence. And he won 5 sets with Medvedev. He was up 2-1, I think, against Medvedev. Medvedev won 6-4 on the fourth and 6-1 on the fifth. But that was
It's a close match, though. He's right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
See the final stats of his match, though?
No.
I have it on my phone. They're hilarious. His last win, he had 57 unforced errors. And I forgot, who he beat? Who was that last round match?
Yeah.
Oh,
Tsitsipas.
Tsitsipas?
Sissy, yeah.
Only had 19 unforced errors. The guy had, I think they put up a stat, he had like 352 winners in the entire tournament and set a record at Wimbledon. His unforced errors were insane, where he actually lost more points but just ended up winning on the big points and made triple the amount of unforced errors. And still
He was
came out.
going for
Just
it,
going
man.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which he had to.
So cool, man. So it was awesome to see. And you watched somebody else that you were impressed with, Kev. Who was it? A couple other ones,
I
but
don't know. I was impressed with everybody, but I don't know any of their names.
I was going to say, do you even recognize any of these names?
I'm like, who is this guy? Ours is like rolling his eyes. Like,
yeah, Kev was giving me updates. I was coming home and I was coming to the hotel room and Kev was like, watching this game, is 5th set here,
yeah.
4th set here.
Yeah,
we
makes
watched
me wanna watch a little more tennis.
because we like to talk about Casper Ruud. Kev also watched Casper Ruud versus Liam Brody there, that second round match. That
Talked about it.
yeah, it was yeah. I mean, I guess last year he lost first round, so he did 100% better this year. Lost second round.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was. How about let's talk about a final. That was man, I wasn't sure if he's gonna get over his nerves, Alcaraz.
When? After the first set?
After the first set, yeah, because that was quick.
Oh, I think 100%. Yeah, because he had nothing to lose. He's come out swinging. I knew that switch was going to hit, and then.
Oh, so you think he would have got over his nerves? I wasn't sure if he would.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he did by the end of the match either. I think he just started to play a little bit more consistent, but I think he had another 20% in him to play.
Yeah.
I think the next few times he plays Novak, now that he knows, I think he's going to be a little freer. I'm not saying he's going to win, but I think he's going to play. It was a lot of errors. It was a lot of errors on both sides.
Yeah.
But if you think of that, right, that means you said he has 20% more in him.
Yeah.
I think he has even more because of his age right now.
Of course. Oh, you mean future potential?
Yeah, a lot of those shots were because of his immaturity.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden he just started rolling heavy balls in.
That was it.
And then it just turned.
It turned, yeah.
Yeah.
It turned, and it was. Djokovic said something nice. He's like, look, he's almost like he took the perfect. He has a perfect blend of tennis. He took a lot what Nadal is doing, what Federer's doing, what I'm doing, and he just combines it in one, which is impressive. And impressive for Novak to say that about the guy just beat him. But yeah, that was a good match. It was a seesaw.
Yeah.
The scoring and that whatever 30-minute game.
27 minutes.
Is that what it was? Yeah, it was a big one.
And the set before went 32 minutes.
Yeah. I heard it was a
one game, 27 minutes.
One game?
One
One
game,
game,
yeah.
27 minutes. And another set went 32 minutes.
13 deuces, yeah. It was on Djokovic's serve.
Yeah, I feel like Alcaraz
That's
had
a record,
double
right?
break
Is
points.
there-
I don't know. They haven't talked about it, but possibly.
He's trying to break them.
Hmm?
I want to see how many break points Alcaraz had. I feel like only through the first game, he had, I think, double break point. He had so many double or triple.
Oh, in
break
the first
points
set.
and just could not.
In the first game,
Yeah.
right?
break
First game or second game, something like that. First game.
It was first
he
game.
did.
He had
Yeah,
double.
yeah, yeah.
And then he kept getting them back.
Yep. Yeah,
Just
so
could not
Djokovic was
defend.
playing so steady, man. He was just like, because he knew the nerves were there. I mean, after the French Open, when Alcaraz seized on the nerves,
Yeah.
right, and anxiety of whatever it was there, of course you're gonna ride that. So Djokovic comes in with I'm gonna just play steady, don't give anything, and it was 6-1. It was, but yeah, it was a lot of opportunities there.
Has he?
19 break points,
Oh, yeah.
and he broke.
And he only broke like once or
It was
twice.
small. It was
Right?
maybe-
Well, in the second set he broke 3 times. Third set he broke 3
Was it
times. I
five?
think
I was gonna-
5 times. Yeah.
5.
Another funny thing that I heard, there was last night. The commentators were saying this is Djokovic's 48 point. The game wasn't over, and I counted. So that third set that Alcaraz won 6-1, Djokovic played 51 service points, and Alcaraz only played 19. So that's a big lopsided. That's another funny stat they were showing there that I wanted to bring up here. That we always talk about how close matches are. At some point, they were in the 5th set, and Alcaraz was down a game. So it was just on serve, right? So it was nothing. Or maybe they were even, or was about to go up a game there. And they were 155 to 155 total points.
Yeah.
And you think about it, man. A match is decided by if you switch 5 points around.
Right. Oh, that really makes you stress when you go back and think about certain points where.
Yeah, the big points. Yeah.
Yeah, where you just maybe made the wrong decision, or even had a ball that you pushed a little bit wide or a little bit long that you just got a little loose on. It'd be like. It's also amazing you can play that many points and it can be that close.
Yeah.
Like, how does that happen? You know?
Insane.
Alice. What all?
Have they? How many times have they played?
This is their 3rd time. They played 7-6 in the 3rd.
Has
it was
he
Madrid last
physically
year.
cramped up against him before, or just like I read the funny quote where he was
French
saying,
Open, right? Those
where
two,
he was saying he was trying to battle that, and he was working with his sports psychologist.
Yep.
So then I was like, oh, maybe he's talking about like mentally seizing up, or is he working with his sports psychologist on how to overcome
at the
physical
French
cramps?
Open, after the first 2 sets, he it was the first time. It was actually the first time in that match. Right, it was a big amped up match. The first time in that match, he lost the first set. He got broken right away, and then didn't get broken right away in the first set. But he was second on serve. Lost the first set. Has chances to win the second one. Doesn't do it. Finally takes it. In the third set, he goes up 1-0. That was the first time in that match that he was up. First time. He was up 1-0. And he just started to. I think it was just a massive adrenaline dump. I think it was just a massive just release. And have you seen some images there?
No.
Yeah.
He just, the hands seized up and the legs, they couldn't walk. And it was 6-1, 6-1. And he was saying like it was mental. It was just, he was so nervous. And that's what I think you're talking about.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's amazing that your brain can create that situation where
Well, we don't think about it, but only they know that. But when you play somebody that you saw on TV all your life growing up,
right,
being on top of the game, and now you play him in one of the biggest stages. I mean, how can you? That's a big, right? That's a big mental.
On a surface where he's supposed to dominate too.
Yeah.
You know, because they're like, oh, young Nadal, he's supposed to just clean this guy up on clay.
Yeah.
right?
All of a sudden, even yesterday, he was. They showed all those DraftKings things now. The odds. It was
Yeah.
like a 2-1 odds for Alcaraz to win.
To win.
Like
In the
Djokovic
beginning.
wasn't even the favorite. Yeah, before the ball kicked off.
That's, I don't know. That's weird. At Wimbledon, that guy's.
It was weird. They
Yeah,
were
it was.
commentating on that, saying, I guess the way everybody was betting, it was everybody was betting on Djokovic, so it swings.
Oh, so that's what did it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so
right
it gets-
before it went off, everybody was betting Djokovic, so then it swings it.
Oh, really?
The odds. Oh yeah, the odds makers, because they want to balance it out. The odds makers
So they
want
make it 2-1. So somebody comes in like, oh, this big money. If I put on Alcaraz, I'm gonna double my money.
Yeah, because in the beginning of the tournament, I think when I looked on DraftKings, I think Joker was a minus 125 and Alcaraz was a plus 330.
Wow.
Well, I took it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Big $5 bet.
There you go.
What do you win on that?
It's like what, $30?
30
$35 bucks?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty
That's-
good win.
That is good.
It's a great win.
Um,
I lost all
Wow.
mine.
yeah.
Yeah. I lost all my upsets. I wait
Oh.
until someone dropped the first set that should
Oh
have
yeah,
easily
you
won.
did. Yeah.
And I got like plus 800 in some of these guys. I was really close on, oh my God, who was that match? They went to a fifth set tiebreak, and it was like 11-13, and he had 2 chances to win. What was that match?
That's not the dude who pulled the underhand serve
Oh, yeah.
in the tiebreak.
Yeah. It was
And then served in volley behind it.
Davidovich Fokina.
Hit an underhand serve. and then
Really?
came in
Davidovich
behind it
Fokina versus
at a crucial
versus
point.
Rune. Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So with 8-8 in the fifth set,
Yeah.
fifth
Deserves
set
it.
breaker, he goes underhand, serves and volleys, and it did not surprise
No, the return
Rune.
is
Yeah.
ripped by.
Ripped it. Yeah. Yeah. That was it. Yeah. That was. But what Rune was saying that he
I mean,
didn't.
that's a brain cramp,
Yeah.
right? That's.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
Was he up? I thought it was 8-all when, but whatever, doesn't matter. It was, or maybe 8-7. Yeah, maybe 8-7. You might be right.
Regardless of the score,
Yeah.
in is it ever a good choice? I know maybe you're mixing it in here and there, but dude, every point is so crucial in a
Yeah.
tiebreak. At what point
tiebreak for the match.
on what's gonna happen there? Or at least don't serve and volley behind it.
Yeah, I
What
know.
a bad move.
I think it was just one of those like I gotta
Yeah.
Hey, a short. What happens?
Hoping the grass wouldn't bounce at all.
He had another episode.
By the way, it wasn't even. Sometimes you see people hit those underhand serves and they
Like side spin on it.
Yeah.
carve that.
You
thing.
just feed it in.
He just looked
I
like
didn't see it.
he was doing a
Yeah.
feeding drill. He just fed the ball and then just charged in.
Feed and
behind
follow.
it. Yeah, it was like
Up
a
the river,
feed-
down the
it was
river.
up the river, down the river. The ball gets ripped by him.
I think he had another one of those. It was this? He didn't do anything, but I'm pretty sure he played Rublev early this year or late last year, and he was up 6-0 in a first set tiebreaker, and he lost that one.
Ooh.
I think he lost it 8-6.
It's tough.
Yeah, if you can look up Davidovich Fokina versus Rublev, it was might have been Dubai or Doha or It was up 6-love on that one. I could be wrong, but so he, poor guy, he's got some of those losses that. I think also I don't think he has. They were talking about him being the highest ranked player that didn't win a tournament yet.
Who's this?
Davidovich Fokina. He's a good groundstroker, man. He had 5 match points. Oh, there you go. 6-1. Was he up 6-1 in the break or something like that? Yeah. So it wasn't the first set, it was the breaker.
That stays with you for a little bit.
Yeah. 5 match points. 6-1 the second set breaker. There you go.
Ooh.
So second set. So he's up a set and 6-1 in the second set breaker and he lost it. Yeah. That's that's tough. Yeah, and I think check. Does he have any tournaments won? Maybe he does, but I know that they were talking about it. Huh?
Seems like a nice guy.
He does.
Just a moron.
He does seem like a good dude. How about? Did you guys watch that Sinner Djokovic?
I did. That was very disappointing.
No contest there. Well, it was. I shouldn't say no contest, but it was. You can feel it was just there. It was always just that 10%. Djokovic is 10% better.
I lost that bet.
Yeah. I don't
took
think I had
Sinner
money
there.
in that one. Yeah.
Sinner now lost 6 sets in a row to him at Wimbledon on grass.
I thought he would take him at least to 4 sets.
Yeah.
He had that set point in the third.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we saw the Joker moves there, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeesh. Tough.
I was
Did you see some of those?
texting one of my buddies.
No, what's that move?
He was mocking the crowd like. Yeah.
Saw that.
Like
Yeah.
double break point.
So I'm
and
not
he
sure.
comes back and win, and he goes to the crowd. He's like,
Yeah.
"Sorry, I didn't get broken."
Yeah, it was. I think they got on their skin or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were booing him, and I don't know. It must have been some. Yeah.
Amazing. You catch his post-match interview? The
No.
final?
Oh, in the final.
Yeah. So he did a classic, you're teaching a kid or you're talking to someone, you give them the sandwich. You give them one compliment, then you throw him the dagger, and then you give him something nice. And he's like, Carlos is a great player, but also, I'm so grateful for all the times I pulled out tight matches and I have 23 slams and, I've had all these opportunities just like him and I've proved myself tremendously. It's just good to see someone else gets that, And he was like,
Right.
Congrats, Carlos. And it was like, okay, this dude's just yeah, man, I've done this a bunch of times before. I'm a clutch player. You guys know that. I'm just, I don't really care, I guess. Was his thing.
It was-
that was wild.
He did bring up the Federer win in
Federer
19, right? He
Yes.
did bring that
He had
one
to
up.
bring
That's
that
what
one
it
up.
was.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Dude, that was a big win, man. The Federer serving at whatever it was, 8-7, 40-15, the 5th set. Yeah. That was but he won that one. He won another one in the semifinals of the US Open, right? Against Fed. Fed was up 40-15 on him in the 5th set. So that's Sinner. And the other semifinal, Medvedev versus Alcaraz, knows how to play Medvedev, man.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That was 5 sets too?
3 sets.
Oh, it was
quick.
a 3 set.
3-3 and 3.
Quick.
Eubanks and Medvedev was 5 sets.
Oh yeah, okay. That's what yeah.
But Medvedev, it was 3-3 and 3.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was and on the ladies' side, Vondrousova, unseeded, lefty, beat Ons. Was it 4-4? I think. Ons Jabeur had great matches, man, all the way to the
All the way
final.
to the final.
Yeah, she beat Rybakina, which Rybakina beat her in the final last year in the quarters, and Rybakina was, in my eyes, the favorite. I'm not sure what the odds were, but she beat her. She beat Sabalenka. So those are 2 tough players to beat in your quarters and semis. And somebody was telling me that I didn't watch. I just watched just highlights of that one. That she was nervous. So now she's 1, 2, 3 Grand Slam finals.
Over.
Yeah, 0 for 3.
Feel bad for her.
Yeah,
Tough.
Vondrousova. I watched some match when we were in Texas, and she was playing well. She was playing good, ripping groundies, serving well. Must be a cool feeling.
That's
when
a first for her, right? She's never,
first. Yeah, she didn't even play last year. She came to Wimbledon as a tourist, And
Really?
yeah, but she was injured, so
How old is she?
28.
she's somewhere
I
there.
thought I saw 28.
I think she was in another final. She might have been in another Wimbledon final in 2019.
24. Jeez.
I think in 2019 she was in another final.
Oh, so that's still young. Eubanks is what, 28, 29?
27, 28, something like that. Yeah.
He played all 4 years for, where'd he go to school? Did he play 4 years? Did he play 4 years of college tennis?
Georgia
It was-
Tech.
I think it
or
was Georgia Tech.
It's one of those Georgia schools. It's either
Georgia Tech,
or-
Ellis? Will you look at that? Eubanks College?
I think
thought
it was
Georgia Tech.
Yeah, it was Georgia Tech.
He played all 4 years?
Yeah, I think he's been on the tour for 4 or 5
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, he's got game.
Yeah, I mean, he was joking, saying he was like starting to do commentating because he had set some
Georgia Tech, right? Yeah.
goals where he's like, if I don't reach this, I'm just going to kind of
Whatever. Yeah.
turn into commentating. But yeah, I mean, there's not not a lot of guys that complete
School.
school
Yeah.
4 years. It seems like you're already, your career is half over.
That's
by
how we
the
talked
time-
about it. Yeah, by the time you're
you're in
22,
States.
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
So did he
know.
finish? Did he finish all 4 years?
I think he went 4 years.
Oh, cool. I thought he just played 2. Did he play all 4?
You might be right.
I don't, maybe, yeah, maybe he did play all 4, which is awesome. But that's what we talked earlier, right? About college, like there's pluses and minuses because you get the training and all that stuff. Just that time, that 18 to 22, 3 years. Nice. That 18 to 22 in college is where you get your training there, but you have so many South Americans, so many
Right.
Europeans,
They're already
and
playing.
they're already playing,
Yeah.
playing on the grinding. They take their losses, but they
Right.
learn the surfaces and all that. And yeah, it's I don't know what's a better route. We talked about it. It might be you were saying that college just delays a little bit, and you need to go through those.
Yeah, you need those experiences.
Yeah.
Like you said, the ups and downs. You need to experience that. I mean, college, you're getting match experience, but you're sort of a little bit coddled.
Yeah, because you have your room
You're
and
not-
board and
your
everything.
coach
you're
is
not,
there. Yeah.
Your win, your next round win isn't dependent on you getting enough money to
Correct.
try
To
to
pay
get to the
to pay
next
everybody.
place you're
Yeah.
going.
So
You're like,
that's the difference
Yeah.
right there. You're getting good matches, but
Yeah, no,
you're
it's
not
different.
getting the internal stress of
It's different. Yeah.
I got to win. I got to pay for my hotel, or I got to pay for something else. That's a little bit different.
We were talking on with Sean and a couple of the guys on Thursday, and actually that's a good subject here too. About initially the whole topic started with the Saudis trying to invest and buy tennis, invest into the ATP and in WTA. They wanted to kind of pump like similar what they do with the golf, right?
Mhm.
Something like that.
Yep.
In revenue each year, 165 million. They were saying that they could. Yeah, who said on Thursday like Bill? Maybe they say 500 million. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, call them out right here.
Yeah,
Shame them.
yeah. There you go. We're checking things here. But anyways, it's got to be. What if you invest like 5% of that into, and each Grand Slam does it, and there's sponsors and so forth, and now you have. And again, you just have to. It's like a scholarship for you have to show that you need it, and they'll give you. You have a program like, all right, here we go. Now you travel for X amount of tournaments, and you get this amount of money for coaching, and
There
It takes some
How do they
pressure
decide-
off.
You mean like people apply for it?
yeah, you apply for it as a junior player, and then you per your results, per everything. It's got to be. I mean, it's a massive infrastructure, but I think that might be the future, man, because there's so much wasted talent.
The average cost for just travel is about
150,000, per year per travel, yeah, and that's not even staying in. That's kind of getting the best flight and not the most comfortable hotel, and
Right.
it's tough out there, man, and especially like this is a global world sport, and you got to
Correct.
travel,
You're all over the
man,
place.
Right.
all over the place. The finances of an individual sport are very different than a team sport. With who are you saying? We're saying on Thursday, right? Like the 300 basketball player in the world,
making like $10 million.
$10 million.
But they on top of that $10 million, they have an organization. They have someone to
That's
market for them.
correct.
They like have an entire team that's already paid by someone else. They got physios. They got whatever they need
There you go.
at their disposal on top of that salary.
Right.
And then your 300 player in the world does not.
Yeah.
Right. He's flying standby.
Yeah.
Hoping a cheap flight somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have someone came up with a crypto type coin where that was like their goal. Is it wasn't through a tournament or whatever, but you can buy shares of like a player. I don't know if Casper Ruud's on it. They have one big name player, and then they have a couple of these like guys that shoot YouTube series type stuff, and you get like 0.0001% of their earnings, but you buy like a share of them, almost like they're a stock, and you put in X amount of dollars, and you get X amount of shares, and if they win their tournament winnings, you get like 0.5%.
That's
of their
interesting.
winning from every tournament. But
So
that was like the one.
you invest in your player.
So that was like a
you
third
buy into your players.
party fund. It was like you fund them for travel and all that stuff, and hopefully with you giving them all this money, they can go win all these tournaments, and you get something back.
That's a great
from it.
idea.
I forget what coin it is or it's called. I think there's three or four players on it. There's one that's like, I think he was inside of at least top 20.
That's a great. That's a great idea.
And then there was just like these
It's a great
young
concept.
kids that were like doing YouTube, trying to make it,
Yeah.
somewhere in like Europe. They're like 19 years old,
Yeah.
shooting vlogs and stuff, but trying to like actually gain a ATP point. And he's on there, and he was the one to like present it. But you see it? Who's the big?
No, but I know the kid that you're talking about.
Yeah, it's that Tennis
So-
Bros kid.
Yeah.
It's oh my god, what's his name?
Wow, that's
not a
one
bad
way
idea.
to.
Felix.
So
is
you
what it is, yeah.
So you basically you go and you with your money that you buy they use that for
Yeah.
travels.
Like
you
I
invest
give
in
you
them. Yeah.
$20,000.
Yeah.
There you go. Pay for your hotels and whatever. Go to tournaments, and then I forever have a stake in your tournament
Yeah.
winnings, but it's a tiny percent. Like you would have to go crush
Yeah.
for me to even get
So you
close
just-
to my investment back. And like,
But there's got to be some sort of, if it's not already mainstream, there's got to be some sort of way of helping out those guys, the talent that has to support the sport, because otherwise, I don't know, you compare with other sports, you lose so much talent. You lose so much of what it could be. Like you might have an Argentinian boy that's so freaking talented, but has no means to travel. And
Yeah, it's not
You
like the
could-
most talented people break through. It's the people who
yeah, and that
have
tends
the,
to
maybe
be
have the opportunity to do it, and that leads to them kind of getting some.
But it also
better
filters
chances.
your pool of talent, and you lose as a sport. No,
Yeah.
it's the way. I think it was a story like that with Diego Schwartzman, that he was trying to get sponsorship from his federation, and he was so tiny. He's a tiny guy, and they wouldn't do so. For the longest time, he couldn't travel outside of the country because of money.
Wait, they wouldn't give him money because he was tiny?
They didn't think he's gonna be making it.
that is too small to progress.
They thought that whatever analysis they do, and they didn't give him enough money to travel, so he had to stay within Argentina or close to for the longest time, and he played a lot on clay and all that stuff. That's how he got. So yeah. I'm pretty sure that story is right, but it could be.
Jeez.
We should
I'll
fact check
believe
it.
it.
We should fact check it there, but
Reasonable, yeah.
I like your chances in Argentina.
Yeah, I'll take it. Send me over.
They look at me and Larry. They're like, Sean. They're like, yeah,
yeah,
that guy. Send him.
yeah.
You can't hit a ball, but we'll fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, 5, 5.5.
Schwartzman's 5'7", so
I don't buy that though.
Guy sounds like a
You
giant.
think he's shorter,
It's
don't you?
yeah, I walked by him in the U.S. Open, but maybe,
Yeah.
maybe let's give him 5'7".
it says
Yeah, some of them like
0.7 meters tall.
yeah. If you there's some pictures of him and Isner.
About 5'5", 5'5", 5.5". My license says 5'6".
Mine does too. I feel like you really only use the half when you're under 5'6". Right?
Oh yeah, no,
That's like one of the things I've noticed. I'm like
Yeah.
a 5'5", I've never really heard anyone be like, "Oh, I'm 5'9".
Oh no, I
3/4,
would
5.5.
say it goes the closer you get to 6. Yeah,
People really? I
Everyone
feel like
yeah, I'm
You start
5,
adding the
5,
half?
10 and a half. Or
Really?
Like,
Ooh, I
they're
feel like
like
when you're
almost
shorter,
yeah.
I'll say that.
Ellis knows.
I think people say that to you because you're a giant. When they're
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
down at me, they're like, I'm 5'10", dude.
But that's the thing. That's like the dating apps and stuff. You know, guys, girls like I want someone that's 6 feet. It's like I'm 5'11" and a half. Like round me up. Let's go on a date. You know,
Run, yeah.
that's the only time I've heard halves.
Dating apps.
So maybe Diego Schwartzman's got a chance if he puts half in his bio.
Yeah.
I think I am 5'5" and a half, though. I'm not totally 5. Not 5'5".
Yeah.
5'6" when excited. And a little taller.
That way?
No, taller, bro.
Knew that was
Height.
coming.
You're talking height, bro.
Schwartzman's the third shortest pro tennis player.
Really? Who's the shortest tennis player?
Oliver Roches.
Oh,
Oliver Rokas.
Rokas.
Yeah.
How tall is he?
Yeah.
Dude, he had
Wow,
a
that's
nasty
like-
one.
Tower over him.
So I got to tell you, I think that gives.
And who was the second one?
I think that shows how talented, dude. How do you get out there
Nishioka.
compete with dudes that
Especially
are?
with
Yeah.
these high, heavy balls now.
Dude, God, that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
people must be able to serve over that. Where's he return serve from? The
Oh,
third
yeah.
row.
Yeah, he's.
Schwartzman's return game is crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very good. Yeah.
I think that says a lot about their talent, dude. They're out there with guys that are
Exactly.
way bigger.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you remember like David Ferrer? He
Yeah.
was. I think
was
he
he
had.
small?
He was 5'9", they were saying, but he was a bull running over. But I think he had an extended handle. I think he had a plus,
did.
if not a. I think he had a 29-inch racket.
I used to like that guy's game.
I think so. Yeah, but maybe
with
I'm wrong.
the-
But I know. I
Orange
thought he was
Prince.
playing with an extended racket. David Ferrer,
Ferrer.
Ferrer, or David Ferrer. Yeah.
I played with the extended for a little bit.
The Babble app.
The Babel
Pure Drive.
Plus.
All
Yeah.
you guys did.
I
over
did.
there.
I
Pure
also-
drive
I
plus,
also-
baby. Come on.
Through college, I used a Prince that was extended,
Thanks.
the Michael Chang edition.
Yeah. Yeah.
That does make a difference. When you're a small guy, I feel like you would notice it on hitting a serve. You get a little more.
I think that's what he was doing for serve and also, like you're saying, like return, man, return reach, and
That's what Caitlin uses. She swears by it. She won't use anything else.
she's extended racket. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I mean, they're
but I
usually
wonder
not
what
much.
Ferrer's
It's like
racket size was.
like a
Yeah.
half
It's a half
inch,
an inch, yeah.
right? I mean,
Supposedly 27.
Supposedly 27 for Ferrer. Okay, maybe not then. It looked maybe it just looked in comparison with the size of his body there, but I thought he.
You know what's crazy
think
going off that though is the weight of these guys' racket. Like not let
Yeah.
alone the extended. Like
Mhm.
some of these bigger guys are swinging around rackets that weigh like 380 grams. I wonder if Schwartzman and those guys are doing the same. They're just like the same sort of athletic build, if even stronger, to get a racket around that's that heavy. Like
It's,
Rublev's out there, and he's just like a lanky, tall dude
Yeah.
that can create that power. And then like you got Diego Schwartzman like swinging his racket around, and it like lifts him off the ground when he follows through it. You know,
it's so the range is so big on how they customize the rackets. They just, some of them go heavy, some of them go super light. Was it last year? Borna Chores, they were talking about him because he has shoulder surgery, and they're talking about how he was playing with some heavy rackets, so they dropped the weight down a little bit, and because of it, his serve just like exploded. Or it could be the other way around, added weight,
Added
and so
weight.
whatever it was, they were messing around with it. But I think all of them have such specific weights and obviously stringing tensions and all that. What I would like to know is what's their range on depending on the day, right? Because you obviously your strings and the balls react differently on a hot day versus a humid day, colder day. So I wonder what their range is, how big.
I think it's usually 4 pounds. I've
The
been
range?
watching so many of these videos because I'm
Yeah.
so in my head.
Yeah.
Racket stuff now. I'm just
So
trying to.
is the range about 4
find
pounds?
one. Yeah, it's about 4 pounds.
Mm.
You should have a sit down with Kevin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll. I think they drop when it's hotter, and then
Yes.
So like it's Marcus Giron that did like a podcast with Tennis Warehouse, and
Yeah.
he was talking about his specs and how he changes everything.
I would think you'd want it
I go the
tighter
opposite.
when it's harder. Isn't the ball moving through the air?
because it was just like a.
So you
yeah,
want something a little Tighter?
because it would like hold on the strings a little bit longer, wouldn't just fly right off. Like they said, he was whatever tournament he was at, somewhere like Arizona or something. He's like, this dry heat, the ball, those Prince balls they use get so soft that you need something that sits a little bit longer. Otherwise, it just
Interesting.
kind of like erratically flies off of it. But those guys are so crazy meticulous with like they'll string like 2 pounds one way or the other, whether it's hotter or colder. They'll use gut in a certain circumstance, like him and his training partner that are all over YouTube were like huge into the gut poly kind of thing. And they went to Wimbledon. They were both playing full polyester. And they're like, yeah, because of the change of surface and weather and all this stuff, like I don't usually use the string, but I even switched strings to something he wasn't comfortable with, but became comfortable with because it was a whole
Just 'cause
different
of the
like
conditions.
surface. Yeah. And he's like, every time the balls change, I change my racket. So they have like 7 strung up, ready to go, and they change balls every 7 games. So
Yeah,
that
all of them.
the
That's fairly
first
common. Though. You
shot
see,
is like
you see
Yeah, they'll. Yeah,
people do that a lot,
Yeah.
right? I feel
And
like
they
you
all
see
have
them
their-
when the new balls are issued, they go and they
Yeah.
pull something out of there.
yeah. There's
A
some
new
Fed
racket
used to
out
do
of
it
the
Fed used to do it the game before
before,
to break it in.
and
Yeah.
then
They knew.
I think Nadal does it a game after, or that they each have their own little. But it's a lot of different ways of doing it. See, I would think on a hot day I would go tighter. That would be my feel, but maybe not. Maybe I'll test it the other way. I just feel like if the court is hard and the ball is hard, and I get
that's
this.
what my original thought would be.
That's what mine too.
Tighter
But if
equals
it's
control, but
everybody probably has a different way of going about it because it's
Yep.
also you swing a certain way, so it's you're taking the way you swing
yeah,
into
'cause
it.
the
like
ball
it's,
moves faster, so they end up
You're right.
being a little more
You're right.
Yeah,
compact.
so you're like everyone's got. You're
You
like
keep
this
it on
guy
the
does
string.
it tighter. Oh, no, I go loose.
That's what I'm saying. The range is so
Right.
big. You cannot follow one. You got to follow the player that has your style, your height,
Yep.
your strength,
Yeah.
and plays in your conditions. That's that's tough. But you see those guys. Well, this guy's playing with that racket. Like, yeah, but he's a tour player. You're a 3.5.
Yeah,
Right.
Maybe that's a little too heavy for you. Maybe you shouldn't. Even if you like his strokes,
Yeah.
Right.
don't put weights
Right.
on your racket
Right.
because that's right. It's right. We see that all the
Yeah.
time.
all the time.
everyone coming in
Way
with a
too
Fed
heavy.
stick. Hey, I'm
So
looking
yeah,
for the
play with a
Federer.
racket that's
Yeah.
good for your style, for your strength, and all that. And that's, I think you just get to feel it over time. The other thing on the racket maintenance, I don't think it's stressed enough. I try to do it a lot, and I see you guys do it too. But the importance of people changing their grip, man. Got to change the grip. Otherwise, you squeeze that handle way too hard.
Yeah.
You don't even realize it. The 5% harder that you squeeze that's 5% loss in your
Yeah.
flexibility. Every time you play a match, I'd say
Change
just
it.
put a
Yeah.
new grip.
And let's be honest, it's
Yeah.
gross too. After a little bit,
God,
it's
some of the
just
grips you see, yeah.
gross. It's gross.
Disgusting.
It's the juniors that are the culprits of it the most.
Yes.
Look at those rackets; they're
Yeah.
nasty.
Insane.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, a lot of times you just play with a full,
Play with
Yeah.
the under- yeah.
just the yeah.
Man, there's nothing like a fresh
Fresh
Oh, it feels so
grip.
good.
on
Yeah.
there too. Your hand just you feel like you have such a good grip on it without
Right.
squeezing
it, yeah.
at all. Yeah.
Yeah. And the better grips almost like they take your sweat and make it even better.
Yep.
It's such a good feeling.
I think that's if you're a recreational player this night, you're not unless you've taken some lessons where someone's reminded you your grip tension isn't even on the radar of things you need to be worrying
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Like
But
how tight you're thinking all this other stuff. Someone will be like, yeah, how tight are you squeezing that? They're like, oh, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fact that now it's worn down, it's slick, it's wet, and you're compensating so it's not sliding in your
Yeah.
hand. You're not even thinking that might actually be killing what you're trying
Yeah.
to do out there.
And then going a little bit deeper, and that's also like when we talk about even understanding the strings and the tension that's good for everyone. Again, varies.
Yeah.
Varies. What would you say if somebody's like you have your player, your 2.5 to 4 or 4.5, and would you tell them to go lower on the range of the racket or higher?
I would go
Probably
higher,
You will go
I
higher.
was gonna say
55.
the
mid to higher.
Oh, you mean on the recommended
Yeah.
tension?
Yeah.
I think that lower type of player doesn't have.
Well, it usually gives a range,
Yeah.
right? So
I don't
like
think
right in
that-
the middle.
I don't think they have the skill set yet of holding the ball on the racket longer.
Yeah, but if it's too tight, you start
Yeah.
over
But
swinging.
the looser it's more of that pocket effect, and you really have to accentuate, or you're gonna catapult the ball.
55.
So if they're really not
gut.
brushing over it and they're just going there, that thing's gonna slingshot.
I just feel like the tighter you go, and not that much tighter,
Not
you
that much.
sacrifice all
Feel,
feel too.
but
I used to string my when I was in college. I used to string my rackets up at 78.
yeah, I know.
That's
Great with what was that? Kevlar.
oh
Yep.
boy.
Like when the strings first changed, they were like unbreakable. My mains were Kevlar, and my crosses were I don't even know what they were. And after a few years, I developed a blood clot in my hand from like we went to see the doctor, and he's like wanted to see. He didn't know what it would have been from me. Let me bring my tennis racket in. He was like, I'm pretty sure. He was like looking at the string.
Good for that
and then
doctor,
feeling
too.
it. He was like, he's seen it in guys that wear the same injury, in guys that work jackhammers.
yeah.
I'm out there, my father's stringing my rackets up at 78. I don't even know why. I don't know why they were that tight. I must have been taking huge cuts. Just like not missing. But now I'm down to, what are you stringing at? Like probably 53?
Yeah, I'm low 50s for you.
Yeah.
How's that shoulder surgery?
I mean, that might have been part of it too. Yeah. I don't know how I must have preferred it. At some point I was probably telling him to go tighter and tighter and tighter, and that's where we had like a little drop weight. It was even tough to get it up there.
To the
thing
right,
was like,
yeah.
But to me that's crazy.
It
Tom.
used to
I've
be
never,
back then.
where people
Tighter,
maybe it was
tighter
just-
was the way to be.
Yeah.
It was.
It was tighter,
Like
but I'm not sure.
60s was always like the norm.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Back
at
in-
49 and a half now. 49 and a half.
Down to 43.
I think
Yeah.
with the polys now, it doesn't
43.
really make
Mhm.
a massive difference.
Talk
Yeah,
about
that's-
holding on to that ball.
The loosest I ever heard was when I was a kid. Louis' dad
Yeah.
used to string his rack. I remember him because again I was like aware of my tension. It was like way tighter. He used to do it at 33 pounds, which to me
Your
is
racket
crazy.
or his?
No, his.
Oh, his. Oh, yeah. Okay.
His.
Yeah.
His,
Yeah.
which is like, dude, the
Yeah.
buttery with it.
Yeah.
I remember
Very
that
good,
number.
good
I remember
hands,
that
yeah.
number for some reason for like
Yeah, because it's so
maybe
out of
because I was
ordinary,
like,
right?
holy moly.
Yeah, the racket tension is a big one. I tend to agree with you there a little bit. I would go lower, especially with the way the rackets are right now. I'll go a bit lower in the tension, just because the rackets give a lot. But I
Well,
guess
I mean,
it
how
varies
many
for everybody,
people-
right? It's not one.
I guess how many people if you're giving them lessons overswing compared to underswing? Don't most people you feel like are like taking huge cuts at the ball? You occasionally get someone you're like, you can relax, swing through a little bit more. But I feel like most people swing like way too fast. No.
I think the nerves.
a little bit of
So
both.
if you get it
Yeah.
looser, you
Right.
can slid it. You think it's both?
Don't you see some
Depends.
people like decelling through the ball
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they're sort of staring it?
A lot of people, yeah.
I just feel like the tighter it is,
Yeah.
the harder you feel like you have to work.
Don't say too tight.
Yeah, again, I think it varies, but
Yeah,
same
of
thing.
course.
We can talk about it. You have a 6-foot guy, at 200 pounds, pretty solid, and you have a 120-pound lady coming in. They're both beginners, different tensions. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
You go up on that guys because you
The taller guy.
yeah
Yeah, he's
you're
stronger.
up on it and you'll be a little
More
less on the
leverage.
So I guess it's also personal. It's also personal.
What's I think Manarino plays at 24
see that?
pounds. Yeah.
24.
I think the lowest he's gone to is
strings
18.
it by hand.
With his teeth.
It's, yeah,
Pulls
not
his-
even knotted off. He just kind of like weaves it and then adds a shock absorber.
Yeah, Adrian Manarino.
I mean, I don't even understand how, like, if someone's hitting a ball at you that's going 120 miles an hour,
Yeah.
how do
How do
you
you control it?
how do you control that off the strings that are that tension? Yeah. I've like taken kids' rackets before, like give them mine if it's not theirs wasn't big enough, and like just fed balls with it, and they're like, rackets that have been passed down by the 8 brothers and sisters, and you go to feed one, I'm like, boom, and that first feed is like up over their heads, and that's just me dropping it out of my hand, Yeah, break. That's crazy town. 24.
Yeah. Probably plays at Kevlar. So it balances out.
I think they realized that was not a great material to
Yeah.
make strings out of.
Kevlar on your racket, Kevlar and bulletproof vest.
Yeah. My game was pretty bulletproof. I would be playing and both these fingers would go white and get ice cold, and then my arm would blow up. Which is
Now
like
it makes sense.
Which is a weird symptom.
It still does a bit now, right? When you
it does blow up occasionally,
bit,
yeah,
yeah.
but that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's probably like the tension back
That's what
coming from the racket.
saying
The
impact is just not. You're like,
Yeah.
your hand's not meant to do that. Take that.
Well, that's it. Again, that you have to look at it also the stroke production there on if you have a 2x4 in your hand, right? To create the type of spin or anything like that you want, that makes it really, really tough. You have to generate so much power.
What's the tightest tension on the tour?
That's
People even go.
Novak.
Is he around 16? Novak at 60?
That was at like 59, I think, right?
Let's shift a little bit because there's one more before we get into tactical, and everything else. That what do you guys think about this attention drawn to the sport through outside of the lines, through the documentaries and I'm seeing headlines now on what this guy said about that guy in that a breaking point.
Yeah.
Bringing a little bit they try to bring a little bit of a drama there into our sport and to create some sort of, and I don't know, it's supposed to, I'm not sure if that's the way to go. I brushed up on it before. I know there's an attempt to bring fans and so forth, but is that the way you win fans, or is the way you win fans by having them play the sport and understand it and love it, and then get to know your players? I mean, what they do in their personal life should not necessarily be a front page. It's how they play. It's what they do, their styles, their tactics, but I feel like it's veering off a little bit from that.
I think that's the problem that our sport's running into, is because we don't have players that you want to go watch. Right? I mean, we've talked about this in the podcast before. It's like, there's really nobody on the tour that I want to really follow. We'd always, Fed would be played, I'd watch every single match of his.
Yeah.
So the play on the court spoke for itself. Players now, hopefully, like Alcaraz winning, people are going to want to watch. But there was a time where no one wants it. So I guess what you're saying is they're trying to get fans the other way, know the player, know what they are, and then hopefully you want to watch them play. Just like everything else in the world. All the drama. Drama is what?
Drama sells, but
it's selling. And that's, agree or not agree, that's how they're marketing it.
Yeah,
That's how
I
the
feel like it's a
ATP
different
and
direction
WTA
or
is.
marketing,
Yeah, they approved Netflix to do it. They had
Of
to.
course, yeah.
So they're saying, this is how we're going to market our players. Let's see if the no-name kid, John, has no idea about tennis. Oh, let's watch that. Oh, that's what that guy did. Oh, man, maybe I'll like it, and maybe I'll watch him.
But is that a good strategy, though? Is that a good strategy to get fans of the sport, to get fans of characters and drama?
As a tennis person, no. But I think the higher uppers, they're worried that's what's going to happen to tennis. They're not going to get it.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree? That's what I'm
Do you
saying.
think this is also a result of
Correct, NBA, NFL, all that
I know,
stuff.
but it feels like those ones for them, like people are already watching. Are you going to get?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's going to work. By the way, you're going to get some 14-year-old kid that's not really into tennis. Now he's watched some of those, and there's some things he's like, yeah, no, I don't know if that translates into them actually watching.
This is what I'm saying. No, this is a very tough
watching a match
sport to. Yeah, you pick it up because you want to play and you like it.
Right.
I'm not sure if you pick it up because you like the character.
Right.
That you saw on TV. Maybe. I'm just bringing up the questions. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the way to.
But you also got to think the day and age of kids, the way they're being raised. We've talked about this. Just looking at a screen.
Oh, so you try to get.
You're trying to get these kids.
Yeah, I see that.
They're on a screen. I mean, my daughter's one of those people right now. It's like she's always on her iPad.
Yeah.
So now that's how these kids are. Oh yeah, Johnny told me about Netflix. Oh, let's put it on. Oh my God, and they're staring at the screen. Oh wow. It could be. It's different. You know, when we were growing up, it's different. We were outside playing constantly.
I'm not.
Not sitting on a computer constantly. It's more on a computer now.
I'm not that familiar with what is it? Breakpoint? Is that what
Breaking.
it is?
Yeah.
Is there another one?
Breakpoint.
Is there another one?
There's
Is there a few of them?
There's golf, full swing. There's
Are they
F1
for,
racing.
F1
for tennis?
F1, right? You watch F1.
Because of that show.
There you go.
No idea.
Yeah.
That exactly.
So yeah, Ellis hasn't
Same
watched F1 because of that show.
But what
Yeah.
Interesting.
Who are they
Yeah.
following? Is it like
The players.
no?
It's
Like
the-
for the
like
tennis
the
one,
younger
for
guys.
example. So it is.
Yeah.
It's people that are trying to. It's
Taylor
guys you don't
Fritz,
really know.
Kyrgios is
Kyrgios.
in there.
No,
Guys that are
it's-
trying to break through.
No.
Well, no. There's
Kyrgios, Angebur, like all top
Tiafoe.
players. Tiafoe.
Seems like it'd be
Fritz.
more interesting if it was guys that were trying to break through. But the problem is
Then
you don't really
why would
catch
you watch-
those. You're not
Correct.
like you're not even
Yeah,
catching
watch
those
the-
guys.
yeah.
So and they get paid for that, obviously.
I don't know,
I think
probably.
so. Through Netflix, yeah.
Through,
I would,
through Netflix
I would
or through the
think so,
WTA
right? So
or
that's another
ATP.
source of revenue.
Yep.
It's also a little more pressure too. Like you're putting yourself in the spotlight a little bit more. Where like I don't know, there's enough stuff battling out there now. I don't know, just throwing yourself in the spotlight seems like.
When
it
they were
could-
talking, we came out right before Australia. They were talking about the curse, right? There was
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
lost.
Oh, that was on it.
That was on.
Everyone
it,
was
yeah.
on it lost.
Really?
Like, or almost all of them
Yep.
lost very early, and there was this big release. And then if you watch the release and the Australian Open, it was. I mean, coincidence or not, I don't know, but it was interesting. So I'm not sure if that was it. But here's the thing: I think that the game evolved so much, and we touched on this before. That any hour or minute that you are away from that, from the training, there's another guy that will train that time versus you filming something. So are you shifting your attention a little bit too much towards that, and now you don't train as much?
So you're talking about the players that are actually doing it.
Yeah. Is that taken away from you, from your free time, from your training time, or are you doing it in your free time? Is that really what you want to do in your free time?
That's, I don't know, balance.
Unless you're getting money, unless you feel like you're getting compensated
Correct. Yeah.
enough.
The
So
money.
they're trying to create a brand.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
I feel like Kyrgios has been successful just because of his social media antics. You know, he wants to be like an NBA player where he's just like beefing with everyone online. And him and like Bjorn Borg are like, dude, they're trading shots on like Twitter. It's hilarious.
Really?
Yeah.
Him and Bjorn Borg?
Yeah.
Bjorn
I
Borg's
heard
like,
that.
you're a bum. You're never gonna win a tournament. He's like, shut up, old man. Like it's past your bedtime. I'll call up the elder at home and like send
Oh,
him on.
really?
Yeah, and it's hysterical. But like, you look at Kyrgios, he's got a massive following of like people that have no idea what tennis is. All these NFL guys and NBA, they were like interviewing at Wimbledon. Like those guys don't know anything that's going on. They're just like, yeah, I like Kyrgios and I like
Yep.
Tiafoe, and it's like they're the biggest probably personalities on tour.
Yeah, Tiafoe has
Right
those,
now.
those guys from the Washington Wizards.
Yeah,
They were following him.
so it makes sense, you know, because
Right,
Yeah.
but so what do you do with that? Because you do have to back it up with a little bit of tennis at
Yeah.
some point too. But you,
But do you think that over time, the sport has lost through rules, through professionalism, no good or bad, no right or wrong, just the way it evolved, you lost your characters. Like some of those guys are so trained mentally to not show emotion.
Yeah.
right?
So now there's no human emotion that a spectator, that a fan can get attached to.
Yeah.
So when there's none of that,
Yeah, it's
now everybody
boring.
becomes the same. You
Yeah,
become
Yeah.
I don't want to say a robot, but become a player. And now in the same game, and now maybe there's need for something like this too,
So they see their other side.
or the personality side. But is that fabricated? Is that real? Because if you look, I don't know, man. If you look back, those guys were allowed to do a lot more on the court. Right now,
Sure.
it's so tightened up. Like
can't do anything. Yeah,
you can't even hit a ball to a ball girl and not get disqualified. You know, so it's the tennis lost some of their encore characters. That, I mean,
Right.
we're not, maybe there is a John McEnroe out there, but
Right,
it
they
cannot
hold it.
do it because
Yeah.
it won't. They won't let it happen.
It is funny because compared to other sports, there's like, I mean, those guys can be. You look at hockey
Insane.
players or even basketball, they can get in and they can mix it up with each other a little bit, and they're kind of like pulled away.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like on a changeover,
Yeah.
two tennis players doing that? They would they'd be
All right,
done.
yeah.
They'd be done.
But even like, yeah. Even a Safin, when he was a character, right? Breaking rackets, doing all stuff.
Yeah.
All of that, that's kind of gone. That's kind of
It
gone.
is.
So, but that's what I'm saying. Is they've been so cut that now they have to be so
Djokovic destroyed a
inwardly.
racket, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Just recently.
Rocked
Yes,
it
and
against
Is
that
there a
post.
huge fine for that?
How,
Yeah,
how
he
much
gets
did
a
they give
fine
him?
for that.
Yeah, I'm sure he can afford it.
Right, but do you think a fine in that situation is necessary? He blew off a little steam. He smashed a
Yeah.
racket. Okay, whatever.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
Just charge him for the net post. That's
Yeah,
it.
they
Huh?
have to
He has
replace
to
that
pay
net
for the
I
post.
think.
Yeah, because it chipped it.
There was a dent.
It should just be the
it chipped.
post.
Yeah.
Like, come on. What are you going to make the sport so dry that no one can do anything?
This is what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
right? It's becoming a little bit too inhibited
Yeah.
through characters, and the same thing on the ladies' side. Now, obviously, it's different. We're talking different personalities and so forth, but you need some characters they can attach to, like you can identify or understand and be like, oh, I know that, versus everyone just win or
Right.
lose. You
Yeah.
just $8,000.
That's not bad.
it makes it even more stupid.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?
Why?
Yeah.
What's the point?
8,000. Yeah.
On air. Like I was watching the live broadcast. It was cut. Like they cut away.
Yeah,
And then they showed it
they saw
after.
him. Yeah,
Just because he kept messing with his wrist. That's the only reason they showed it. Yeah.
Why did they cut it? Because he just he doing.
Went to a commercial.
All you heard was the
It's-
booze.
yeah.
You just heard booze and you had no idea what happened.
Oh man.
People can't handle seeing a net post.
Yeah. Did you guys see?
I
Yes.
actually identify as a net post. That is really offensive to me.
That's what it is.
As a brethren.
Yeah, it's tough to watch. Tough to watch.
Did you guys? What do you think? Did you see the court? What do you think about serving and volleying? On Alcaraz did a couple times. I saw a couple, but not enough.
yeah.
Will that ever come back in singles?
I think it's starting to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Eubanks is doing
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say, dude,
Eubanks was
he
doing
was
it.
getting in
Yeah.
right off.
Big
He was
server.
getting
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's still not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just straight up serve and volley and return and get in, but
What would you put? Let's shift to doubles. What would you put as some key components of serve and volley? Of a efficient serve and volley in doubles, which you have to do. Not have to, but it's something that you do want to have as an option.
key
Obviously.
components.
Key
is what?
component, anything
to be
in
to
a
be
serve and volley.
successful
at it?
Yeah. To develop a good serve and volley, to be successful,
big
to
serve.
Consistent serve.
consistent serve, so you can
I
count on
think-
that.
Yeah, location.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's big.
Yeah.
I think people overlook hitting the spin serve.
Yeah,
Everyone
that's what I
tries
mean.
to lace a flat one in. Just like take 20 miles an hour off, throw some spin, get in behind it, and put yourself in a good
Create a
position.
time, right?
Yeah.
Create the time that you need to get yourself in a little behind it, right? That's obviously important because it's the two shots, but I think the link in between the two shots, I think that's often overlooked. I think your capability of moving as soon as that serve motion is done is so important to be able to create that forward progress and move in at the speed that you can control
Mhm.
the stop on a dime. So it cannot be your full speed initially.
Yeah.
And then you do that split step. And then that explosive, that's when you end. After that split step, you see where the ball's going, then you have a destination, that's when you explode so fast towards that ball. And I think those two speeds are, movement-wise, obviously serve is important, your volley is massively important, but the link between those two, moving right away after the serve, going slow, stop at the right spot, positioning being correct there, and then explosive towards the shot, I think that could change. Even if your technique is not necessarily super correct, I think you can still be very efficient in that.
Yeah, I mean that's
Just-
probably the biggest mistake at recreational type levels. You're shot out of a cannon. Once you decide you're
Yeah.
going in, you drop your head and just
Yeah.
charge in there.
Yeah.
You know,
I think a good exercise for everybody that is trying to do this is like serve, walk,
yeah.
split, and then run towards your volley and make that volley moving.
Yeah.
And then you can up a little bit that initial walking speed to like a light jog. But a lot of times you don't need to do more than that. As long as you stop in time and nice and low on that split step, I think that's a massive plus, because now you're reading that ball balanced. You're reading it very calm. You're not in this motion that you might fall, because you, like you said, your head goes first.
Right.
Now you're about to fall, and you stop in 3 steps, not in 1. That return goes by you.
Or the amount of people that I think land on the wrong foot.
On the serve?
Yeah. Not everyone's learned the kickback, and this usually happens with like people that have never served and stayed back, is they like land in a split step, or they'll land with their back foot coming forward and land on that. We were all taught to land on that front foot, and then you make your move with your left, whether you want to come back.
Yeah, you push off the landing foot.
Going in with their wrong foot, and then they're already off balance and off to a bad start off the landing. Yeah,
I guess you're right. It does start there, but the serve, like you guys said, it's massively important to have your variation. Understand that doesn't need to be the highest speed every time. Actually, the more mixed, the better, right? And then that capability of staying low on that volley and the second stroke, right? Because you have 2 strokes in a movement. That's big. Like keeping your almost like your contact at eye level. That's a big one. I would just stress those things.
I think one of the things I've heard like talk about a lot too is knowing where in the court to be when you're coming in, like getting on like the path as you come in. It's real easy to start in the wrong spot and then just
keep going.
Come in, or you're drawn toward the center. You're just drawn toward the center, and then there's so much room on the outside of the court, and it's like it makes someone, you're like, man, what a great shot. And you're like, well, it wasn't really a great shot. It was a decent shot, but you were way out You were way out of position. Just kind of managing how you come in, or even after if you manage it even off your serve, you get moved off that area for one volley, and then after you volley, you continue like straight from that point, or can overcompensate and come too far, and to like have that aware of like how to keep your court balanced is, I think, really difficult.
Yeah,
super difficult. And when you can stay on that and you find yourself in that area, all of a sudden everything is like within reach. And if it's not, it's in reach of your partner. Yeah. And if it's not in reach on the other side, it's probably wide. You're putting yourself in an area where you can cover most of the court.
Yeah, the positioning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have our your body readiness, your positioning. Those will allow you to be proficient at it, or efficient, I should say. On the serve, we talked about this before. What time you guys got to go? 10 minutes?
Rolling like 5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay. But you 5 too?
Nope, I'm here till 3.
On the serve, right? So talking about a little technical on the serve. We talked about this before, but let's bring it up again. Racket grip, right? Talked about that, and I didn't get to it. Just making sure that looseness is there, and that index finger. I've been working on a lot of serves lately, and that seems to be like such an idiot game changer on the feel, on the snap. It's so often with the wrong grip, you have this wrist so tight, and that gets your fist and your wrist so tight there, and the flexibility is gone. So now you're muscling that ball versus creating that nice wrist rotation. So I think that's the grip and the racket position in your hand, which again, talk about it. Don't go too low. Be a little bit higher on it. That's gonna help a lot. But other than the grip, right? What would be your? Everybody's different, obviously, right? What would you put big emphasis? Somebody's working on the serve on their own. Right? We're not going to go on technique of the serve too much, but let's assume people do have a general understanding of what the serving is and so forth, right? And again, everyone is different, but what would you say to somebody, okay, go and focus on what for 100 reps, 150 reps?
Feeling the racket the whole way through.
Feel the racket?
Yeah.
A
lot of people don't know when their racket drops, and they can't get that. They don't have that racket working for them. You just tell them to get that smoothness, and like all of a sudden it clicks, and they add like 10 miles an hour, and they're like, whoa, that was crazy. It's like, well, you've been doing the same thing. You either have just a massive hitch or you don't have a hitch, but you have no idea what your racket's doing because you just hold it so quick and fast, you know?
Muscling that grip. Yeah.
I'd say toss. Even I think toss is one of those things that you can, before you even mess with people's technique, you can have them make a toss, a little bit of a toss adjustment, and they can gain speed, whether it's just getting the ball a little further out in front, getting it up a little bit
so
higher.
important.
There's like people's, and honestly, I mean, if your technique is perfect, but your toss isn't in the right spot, it's something that's not going to matter. It's almost like that's the quickest way you can get most people's tosses not in the right spot. So like generally you can kind of make little adjustments with that before you do anything else, and they'll hit it and they're like, whoa, that was way better.
I always say the toss is it's such a more complex concept than just throwing the ball with your offhand. It's because it's a full body motion that goes behind that toss. So that is so important to make sure that you understand the whole your whole body rhythm, whatever your motion is. That is you're not just working your offhand. You're working your offhand while your body is doing other motions there too. So create your flow. So maybe kind of goes what you were saying, like feel your swing and do that. Yeah, because that's big. Anybody saying higher, that's big. I find that is such a overlooked, because everybody is focused on their dominant side, the one that has the racket, that you forget that is actually the other side of your body is the one that creates the time or takes away the time through a short toss or fast toss. It doesn't give you time to do all those other motions that have to happen. So now you're cutting corners.
Right. You're rushed.
Like,
and you're starting with the ball in your
but
hand.
you're rushing yourself. That's the one shot you don't, nobody's rushing you on, right?
Well, going on that and piggybacking off that with the toss is, you mentioned it, is the non-dominant arm.
Yeah.
Is a lot of things that I work on with a lot of my lessons is making sure that left side stays up.
Yeah.
So when this gets longer, your toss gets a little bit higher.
Right.
And now your dominant side can work against your non-dominant side. So keeping the chin up and getting your non-dominant hand up.
Most people, if they haven't been taught that,
They're
don't
just gonna
naturally do that.
Yeah, they just flip it here.
From their wrist or from their
Yeah,
elbow.
so they're
and when
not
you
really-
start to get them to like straighten that out and push
extend all the way up.
Yeah.
up, the ball leaves their hand a little bit slower.
Softer.
Which is like, that's what it is. It's got to leave your hand with a lot of care. And most people are like, they already go into that. They're already thinking about hitting it. So as they release it, they're like, it's so quick. You're like, dude, slow down. Take some time with that, you know?
Yeah.
Makes it, I feel like that's before anything else, when you get people,
Yeah.
gong. Sorry.
We're going to mute that part. I'm trying to see who's sweating more, you or Ellis. But
I mean, he does have all that hair.
Well, I'm also
He's glowing.
surrounded by like
My hat's sopping up.
your
Yeah.
heat,
Sweat
yeah.
right
Yeah.
It's sopping it
All right,
up.
we'll finish in
thoughts.
3 minutes. Shift a little bit to the mental part, and I just kind of I'm revisiting a few other, but key to shifting from life mode to competitive mode, right? Somebody comes to a match, they have a 9 a.m. match, 10:30 match. They've been driving, they had to bring the kids to school, they had a rough night of sleep. How do you enter as the best you can, best you're able to enter the match mode? You know, like a couple of tips for people to shift from whatever they had, or a job. You know, you come from work and you had a meeting or whatever it is. I'll start this one and then I'll let you guys kind of chime in. I always refer to the 3. Right, get your mind ready. Like literally, there's nothing else that exists, and you get your mind ready through your eye. Nothing that exists other than seeing that racket hit the ball. Then your brain starts shifting focus from whatever you had externally, whatever you had going up to that point. You shift modes to just watching that shot. So that to me is getting your brain ready. Obviously movement, getting your body ready, split steps, feet moving in a warm-up. And then the concept of creating time and giving yourself time, but that's stopping before executing the shot to kind of get yourself in sync, to get your stroke in sync. I look at that 3-prong approach, the easiest way to do it. Don't worry about what your opponent's doing yet. If you're not feeling, you could come in ready to go, which is fine, and start reading them. But the first 5 minutes of a warm-up, get your brain ready, get your body ready, make sure you have enough time to execute a shot, and then you literally shifting gears to just playing tennis, whatever it is. I'm not sure if that's all of it, but I find those three do work.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I sort of feel the same way. I think about the way I would do it. I wouldn't even be looking at my opponent necessarily that much in a warm-up at first. I'm just all about trying to get your own feel out there, too. I would even, like, sometimes you go out there and certain days, some things feel a little better right off the bat, some things don't. If something isn't feeling quite right, you know, I may be stepping way to the left so it can hit, like, more backhands. Like, fine, just get that. I don't know. I want to strike everything once or twice where it feels correct for me. That just helps. I get there's that confidence now that I've struck a few balls. Like my serves and everything. I always ditched out on a serve warm up because I wanted to warm up returns.
Oh, that's right. You were saying.
So it's like honestly, I'm like, so I hit a few serves. What am I going to really do with my serve out there? Honestly, but I want to get in there and I'd want to like I don't know. I feel like you just strike a few balls right and there's everything else kicks into gear. But, you know, you can go out there and have like a bricky warm-up, and I feel like the whole thing is off on the wrong foot. There's something to me about just like maybe I'm thinking about those things that you said, but not even breaking it down that much. For me, it's like a feel thing. I keep it really, really slow, and then eventually like you're like, okay, there it is. That's how the ball's supposed to feel on my strings, through my arm, and it just everything from there just then kind of happens, yeah.
Everybody has their own individual routines, right? What do, but I think if you don't have one, that could be something that may help just to take your mind from anything else. Try not to pause for that 90-minute, anything that...
Or just having a routine. Maybe, right? A lot of
develop
people,
your own routine,
go buzzing out there on the court, like, right?
Yeah. You know, here's another thing
Show up late and go running right out there and like, dude, how can you do anything? You know?
Watching a match before, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan. You're absorbing. So you have people like you have matches 9 o'clock, 10:30. You absorb the tension of that match. If that match is about to end, and then the match breaker, and you are taking all these emotions those people are playing without releasing through movement.
Right.
You're entering your match as if you were that person playing that match breaker.
Right.
And
you've done no prep for you.
Yes, So it's almost like you're putting yourself under extreme pressure when your body and your mind are not ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I would highly suggest people not to do, or if you do it, don't get attached to it.
Or take 5 minutes before you go out and just get yourself in the correct headspace.
Alrighty, boys, it's a hard one today, so we'll cut it short. We'll do another one next week. We'll
change of clothes. My arms. Look at my arms are sweating.
Bring a second shirt.
That thing works.